I drink your milkshake.
You are listening to the Billionaire Podcast Network.
Moving my bones, no place to rest. Traveled up north just to find my head. I'm still cornfed. Cornfed. Moving my bones, no place to rest. Traveled up north just to find my head. I'm still cornfed.
Welcome to Lost in the Maze, the solo show only on the Billionaire Podcast Network. Ka-ching, bing, 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 dee, fill her up. This is the solo show that I do. It's me, yours truly, the first billionaire podcaster, the Daniel Plainview of podcasting, the Caucasian Copperhead, the Caucasian Critic, White Sonat, Darth Brooks. It's me, your boy, Dalton Pruitt. Welcome to Lost in the Maze, youtube.com/@cornfed with Dalton Pruitt, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Patreon, patreon.com/cornfed with Dalton Pruitt. We got the $5 tier, $10, $15 tiers. Those will get you access to all the premium episodes, bonus content, all the little treats and bells and whistles that go with those. But the big one, the most important one, not the $35 pictures of my feet tier, which if you want to subscribe to that, please, but the $25 tier will get you, for $25 a month, you will receive the Fraternal Order of Corn-Fed decal after you've been subscribed to that tier for 3 months. It is $75 for a sticker. And along with that, once you subscribe to that tier, if you send me a list of your enemies, I will call for a jihad upon them on the show. I did this for the previous person that subscribed to that tier. He subscribed and sent me a list of 150 names, one of which included Sam Hyde, and I did make a recording in which I called for a jihad upon his enemies, jihad being the Arabic word for holy war, jihad also being the preferred parlance used in the Frank Herbert's novel Dune, the Muad'Dib's jihad against the Landsraad and the noble houses and the whole galaxy, a slaughter that would see numbers greater than that which were done by Hitler. There is a part in Dune Messiah where the Muad'Dib is feeling bad about doing this jihad, this galactic jihad, and the billions of people that they've slaughtered, him and his armies. And he's like, I guess he can like see into the past, or I don't know, he has like some knowledge of everything. And so he's asking like one of his subordinates, he's like, you ever hear of a guy from years and years ago, thousands of years ago, called Hitler? And the guy's like, huh, that's from the old, like the whatever language they use, that's from the old records, that's from ye old recordings. And Muad'Dib, Paul Atreides, is like, yeah, Hitler, he did one of these, and you know how many people he killed? And the guy's like, no, I don't. And Muad'Dib says, yeah, something like 6 million. And then the other guy's like, huh, his army must have been a bunch of fucking pussies, because we're going through and killing billions. And then the Muad'Dib is like, no, it was actually probably one of the most formidable armies at the time. And I guess it's I guess the point that he's trying to make there, Frank Herbert, is violence begets violence, and if everybody does an eye for an eye, eventually we all go blind. You know what I mean? And that's sort of the the parable of Dune is that the Muad'Dib, Paul Atreides, does this jihad, an act of revenge, the Freeman rising up against the galaxy, and in doing so creates more chaos and bloodshed and terror and suffering than the universe has ever known. And he is horrified by his actions. He feels distraught by what he has wrought, and then walks into the desert, the fool saint, the Muad'Dib. Uh, anyway, so yeah, $25 will get you the decal after 3 months. $75 for a sticker. I was inspired to make that after watching the Telemarketers documentary on HBO, which exposes the FOP charity scam invented by I think it's the Jersey-based Civic Development Group, a classic boiler room telemarketing scam operation in which many ex-convicts and drug addicts call hundreds of little old ladies across the country to ask them to donate money from their dead husbands' pensions to support the families of fallen police officers. And in return, the little old ladies receive a little sticker that they can slap on the back windshield of their car to maybe get out of a ticket. And then also, most of that money doesn't go to the actual charity; it just goes to the telemarketing company. So that's kind of the ethos of my scam with this decal. But yeah, I mean, you can, when you get the decal, if you subscribe to that tier and get the decal, you can put it on your back windshield, and it might help you get out of a ticket. Speaking of the Telemarketers documentary, one of the main guys in it, one of the main characters, I suppose, real people in a documentary are characters. Patrick J. Pespis was missing for a couple weeks. We were all very concerned. We wanted to see him return home safely. And happy day, Patrick J. Pespis has been found. He's back with his wife, his beautiful wife Sue, and they ask that we all respect their privacy in this trying time. So, praise be to the Most High that Patrick J. Pespis has been found. I also found his LinkedIn profile. Anyway, let's get into the show. This is Lost in the Maze, number 10. And a lot of these entrepreneurial guys on the internet, these sort of like VC tech podcast aficionados, the guys who made billions in tech and all that want to be entrepreneurial motivational figures that talk about what to do if you want to have like some sort of podcast or media career. Those guys say, they always tweet stuff like these statistics, and it's always like, if you want a successful podcast, you got to do this, and this. And then they always say, like, they always have this like statistic, and I don't know like how true this is or where it comes from, but they always say the key to a successful podcast, the key to making it in this field, is consistency. Always BBP posting. You know what it takes to sell Patreon subscriptions? Brass balls. Okay, you see this watch? It cost $900,000. And so they always say that most podcasts don't make it past 10 episodes. That these people will decide to start a podcast and do it a little bit, and then it just drops off. They give up. And you want to know why that is? It's because those shows suck shit. Most people are unbelievably boring and uninteresting, and that has no bearing on their overall success in life. I've met plenty of upper middle class and upper class people, millionaires even, who are the most drab, absolute fucking dullards I've ever talked to. It's almost like an AI scripted everything that they're saying. It drives me fucking crazy talking to most people, because they speak and act in a way that I don't even know how to explain it. And it's not that like dumbass internet thing that people talk about where it's like, I don't like small talk. I do enjoy small talk. I'll talk about the weather and about traffic or politics, like whatever small talk is. But there, you could just tell talking to a lot of people that they don't have much going, like rattling around in their heads. Like they they were gifted with the foundation and the wherewithal to like do the right things and have a good career and create stability for themselves, but god damn do they fucking suck. They're boring fucking people. And then a lot of these guys, what happens is like they hit this sort of crisis in their lives, this existential moment where they wonder, is the, you know, there has to be more to life than you know, being a millionaire owner of a landscaping company. I should do podcasting. That they all, you know, they do that. They're like, there has to be more to this than owning 4 used car lots and having a beautiful family. I need to sell beef jerky on the internet. And so they, you know, they start podcasts, and it turns out they suck at it. They have nothing to say. They have no point of view or like interesting thoughts at all. And for them, it's a grind. They realize that sitting in front of a microphone and talking for an hour, hour and a half, hour, 2 hours is probably the most difficult job in the world. And then the show doesn't make it past 10 episodes, and then they just have this graveyard of dusty podcast equipment sitting in the house, a fragmented memory of a time in which they attempted to follow their dreams of selling skin cream and talking about the news of the day, or whatever it is that you know, people want to talk about. Everybody covers the same fucking topics on podcasts. Everything sucks. Like somebody was telling me, somebody called me out and said that the podcasting bubble burst, that the grift is over. And I don't think it's that. I think the reason a lot of people now are exhausted with podcasting and pretty much all content is we're caught in this bizarre feedback loop that has been determined by the algorithm. Like the algorithm has manipulated so much of what content and entertainment is, and art is dead. Like it used to be, there was art and then there was entertainment, and then along came content, and now art is just completely off the table. Entertainment is dying, and what's left is just content that's all being like determined by the algorithm. Like there's these trends that start happening because of the algorithm. The algorithm like starts pushing whatever to people, and then that, you know, we all see that this is what's getting all the views. Like we all, for example, we all saw this happen with the YouTube thumbnails, the soy face, like Mr. Beast style thumbnails that everybody started using. And so because Mr. Beast has 800 million YouTube subscribers and he's a billionaire, probably CIA asset or something, I don't understand that guy, but because like that sort of thing was like everybody saw that working really well, everybody else just followed suit and said, well, I guess we got to do these dumb fucking goddamn thumbnails for our YouTube channel for everything that we upload. And so that, you know, that was something where everybody was influenced by the algorithm. And then along came the clips, the 1-2 minute clips of 10 different people sitting around a table talking about what body count is acceptable for a woman. Is it okay to marry a woman who's had sex with 10 or more people? Is it okay to date a guy who has only had sex with 2 or 3 women? You know, what should be, how much should a man make in a year before you'll date him? Those kinds of really fun, engaging conversations that are just flooding the internet. That's what's, you know, that's what's being pumped out, because the algorithm has determined that that's what people want to see. I guess that's, thousands and millions of people get to watch Adam 22 sit at a table with Crip Mac, and well, Crip Mac is very entertaining. That's a bad example, but you know what I'm talking about. Those shows where it's like the most vapid, vacuous, empty-headed fucking people talking about sex and money and relationships. Really fun stuff, but that's what the algorithm, that's what, and so because of that, people are now creating things following that trend. People got to do relationship advice shows and sex talk and body count and fucking money and finances, crypto, stocks, all that. And then you gotta cut down a 1 to 2 minute clip with the big fucking subtitles, because everybody, because psychologically everybody knows that nobody even wants to fucking hear it. You're scrolling on your phone, it's already muted, and knowing that they have to put these subtitles up so that you're forced to at least see something that's being said. It's the same like sales psychology as cold calling someone, like calling someone out the blue in like if you work on like a telemarketing sales floor, and having to like pretend as though you know that person and be like overly engaging and like try and hook them in any way possible. That's what's happening with these clips in the big subtitles. They're utilizing sales manipulation tactics to get you to unmute your phone and watch their awful fucking podcast that is saying the same thing 1,000 other shows have said, because these people are fucking goddamn drips who have no thoughts. That's what's rewarded now, is people with no thoughts. Because like honestly, when people talk about this great fear that AI is going to start creating all the TV shows and movies, that the AI is going to write the scripts and blah blah blah, it's like to some degree that is already happening. When you look at the way streaming and TV and everything works now, how everything is moneyball, like everything is boiled down to these like spreadsheets and percentages and statistics, and these studio execs and everybody are just trying to figure out like how to like game the algorithm and create something that algorithmically will appeal to the most people. At that point, then everything that's being created is in this feedback loop based on that. So people are creating things now not from their own imagination or like from this desire to create something new and make anyone feel anything or think about things or see anything in a new perspective or like actually create art. They're creating things because like based on what they think the algorithm might push to everybody. And so we are like being tuned as machines basically by this technology, like whatever an algorithm is, like whatever this technology is, this programming by which these services and studios and everything operate now, it's trickling down and influencing everybody to create things in an effort to please the algorithm itself. So that's why like so much sucks shit now, and there's so much nostalgia bait because culture plateaued, and then everything became like everything was just referencing stuff that was good that we enjoyed before, because nothing new was coming out that was good. And that's why Frasier is back on. That's why they keep having to reboot everything and reference old stuff, because nothing new that's coming out is fucking worth the shit. And I felt that coming when that fucking goddamn Stranger Things show first came on. I remember watching that when it first came on, and I was like, did a computer make this show? Did they just like input a bunch of like Spielberg and John Hughes and Zemeckis it tropes into a fucking computer and like hit enter and do like a weird science experiment to create this fucking show, because this is just a hodgepodge of nostalgia. There's nothing here of any substance. And look, far like nobody should expect much substance from television. Like TV is TV, so what TV is like supposed to be more digestible, like filler entertainment, whereas movies, film, cinema, that's that's the Wagyu beef, and TV is Wendy's. If that makes any sense, you understand the metaphor. And so I'm not expecting TV to be high art, but watching that Stranger Things show, first, like when it first came on, and even now, I'm like, this is like an extension of that like Ready Player One shit. It's like a further extension of that sort of thing, where it's just referencing all the nostalgia and stuff that these like older generations look back on fondly, and then younger kids like my age and younger just watch it and go, well, I guess that was cool. I wasn't there for any of this, but I mean, that looks like it was fun to have a crew and go on bike rides and fight monsters. But I mean, but that's what that show feels like. It just feels like they put in a bunch of references into a computer, into like an AI prompt, and hit enter, and there you go. There's the fucking show, everybody, and it's the biggest thing on the fucking planet. So I'm wrong. Like it's like the most popular show ever, but god damn, it sucks. It sucks so much. I just truly don't like that show, and its most unforgivable crime was, as we all know now, casting Brett Gelman in the show. What an absolute just awful person Brett Gelman is. Uh, he's so annoying. He's so bad, and his little cracker ass Peckerwood attitude, his dumbass behavior is probably the reason his black wife left him. And then he finally found himself a nice Jewish gal, and they can laud the genocide happening overseas right now. I'm not gonna. Actually, let's not speak on that. I don't want to lose my job. I'm unemployed, actually. I don't want to stop receiving my EBT benefits. Yeah, but I mean, everything is like not interesting now, and that's why everything's going. A lot of stuff is just going to content. Like during the strikes that have been happening in the entertainment industry, like you hear all these stories of like these TV writers who are not even like not making enough in a year to qualify for like that union health insurance, and like come to find out, the minimum qualification, like the minimum amount you have to make to get that insurance, is like $27,000 or $28,000. And so it's like, well, like at that point, this is not even a job. You're working a fucking side hustle if you're not even clearing like that amount of money in a year. But secondly, like what you do in the world of TV and entertainment has little to no value at this point, because it just sucks shit. Like I hate to be like not have like it's not that I don't have empathy for them or that I'm trying to be like cynical in any way, but it does suck shit what is being created, because it's all at the whims of like not even like studio executives or like lowest common denominator people anymore. It's just trying to figure out like what like algorithmically will work, and now like nobody wants to watch it, and I imagine these like streaming services are just like hemorrhaging fucking money, because they've forgotten that what people want is stuff that's entertaining and engaging and doesn't feel like it's being like created in some sort of fact like TV show factory where they've removed all of the like human elements and stuff, like the components that make anything interesting, and they're just trying to like distill everything down to like like to you know what I'm, god damn it, now I'm just getting flustered talking about this because I don't enjoy anything anymore. I don't enjoy anything anymore, and you may be asking yourself, well, Dalton, if you're so salty about this, why don't you create something? And it's like, I'm trying. I'm doing broadcasting. I don't even like the word podcast. I don't even, what the fuck does that word even mean now? I guess when it was started, it was like in some reference to the iPod. Well, the fucking iPod doesn't exist anymore. They don't make them now. There's the iPhone and the Android phones and just the internet in general, but the fucking goddamn iPod doesn't even exist anymore now. And so like this tech guy just created some dumbass fucking word that we all just use, and the word podcast sounds stupid, and that's why nobody respects it. That's why there's people in podcasting who are only making $20 million a year doing it. I just don't like it's just not an elegant word. There's something about it I find to be unpleasant, and it's not that gay shit where people are like, I don't like the word moist. It's just a silly word that I don't like. I've never liked the word podcasting. Broadcasting, that it carries with it the glitz and glamour of old Hollywood. Broadcasting, radio, big tower in the sky with big red like circles emanating off of it, big red beams of light beaming down into your car so you can listen to conservative talk radio. There's too many immigrants flooding into the country and ruining what was once a great land. But yeah, I mean that's what I create. Okay, I'm a fucking broadcaster. I'm not a fucking goddamn TV writer. I never had any aspirations to break into like necessarily show business. I was like, I just want to carve out some like dumbass corner of the internet and do my thing, and then the rest of you can go live in that weird fucked up world where you like, even though you've succeeded and made your dreams come true, you all seem absolutely fucking miserable and just complain and complain and complain about stuff, which is rude, which feels like gaslighting, to be honest with you. Like anytime I see a celebrity complain about anything, I'm always just like, this feels like psychological warfare. Like what are you doing? You made your dreams come true. You have like the most comfortable, awesome life imaginable, and you still have the fucking gall to complain about stuff. And it's always like, well, just because I have tons and tons of money and get all this pussy and I'm a big time movie star doesn't mean I still get sad sometimes. And it's like, fair enough. Keep it to your fucking self, okay? It's okay to be sad. Sit in your fucking mansion and deal with it, and don't go on a goddamn fucking talk show and try to appeal to the masses as though you're one of us. And it's like, oh, I get sad sometimes, so I have to take 6 months off to go travel around the world to deal with my depression. Okay, really fucking inspiring stuff there. I'm glad you were able to work it out in Monaco. I'm stuck going to the Amazon warehouse and working 15 hours a day with a 30-minute lunch, 10 minutes of which is spent walking from the fucking goddamn conveyor belt to the break room. I live the most hostile, miserable life imaginable. I welcome the sweet embrace of death, and you motherfuckers want to live forever. That's how good your lives are. You can't imagine it ending, and that's all I think about is when will this end? Everybody calls me like when I dealt with my brain accident and I was sort of in a coma of sorts, and people were like trying to like reach out to me and figure something out. People would tell me, life is short. We don't have a lot of days left when you think about it. And I was always like, what are you talking about? There's tons and tons of days. This is long. This is a long slog to nothing. This is just an arduous fucking trek that each day I'm like, I can't believe this is still happening. Why do people say that life is too short? This is so fucking much. This is so long. But maybe that's the people that are actually enjoying it feel that it's short. I guess that for people like me and a lot of the country, it's like, God damn, dude, that weird human thing where it's like I'm miserable, I hate this, but for some reason I don't really want to die just yet. But man, it will be great when this is finally over. Just that dumb human thing where it's like I could really, you know, just not deal with this anymore if I wanted to. I could fucking press the button on this one and blow myself up, and just go black and finally be like free from this bullshit. But for whatever reason, I don't want to, even though each day is a fresh new hell. And I suppose that's the human condition. That's the as Albert Camus said, the myth of Sisyphus. The boulder stuff, the that like French existential shit that different fucking entertainers get into, where they talk about, you gotta love the process, you gotta learn to love the boulder, and all they get into this like spirit, like new age wellness spiritualism stuff, as though they know like truly what suffering is. Where it's like I'm sure you have like some shit that you deal with, but shut the fuck up, shut your fucking goddamn mouth, because like whatever you've dealt with in life is so far behind you at this point. You don't like whatever your version of this like Sisyphusian shit is like kicking a pebble down the road. Okay, I got the fucking boulder, bitch. Okay, I'm pushing the boulder, and let me tell you something, it's real fucking heavy, and I'm not making a lot of headway up this hill. And I know that even when I get to the top of the hill, the fucking goddamn boulder is gonna roll back down. So, just let me work with my boulder here. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear this shit. I think honestly, like reading philosophy might just make you stupid if you don't like go into it all the way. Like if you read just enough philosophy to start thinking like a philosopher, but not actually having the actual like deep ass thoughts that a philosopher does. Like everything, like everything you're thinking and trying to talk about with other people is just like referencing shit that you've read in philosophy. Like you think you're smart, that might actually be like counterintuitive. Like to read enough of this shit to think you're onto something, to think you're like gaining some greater understanding of the human condition, but to not actually be an intellectual is probably like the worst place to be, because then you're just an obnoxious, pretentious dickhead who read some books and now thinks like you're onto something that nobody's ever heard of before. And it's like, no, we're all pretty familiar with like Socrates and Plato and Aristotle to some degree, and a lot of the tropes and ideas that are talked about in all these different philosophical texts have been like delivered to us via some medium, whether it's in TV or movies. So like we do have like some sort of embedded understanding of these ideas already, and it's just opened up to us further if we take the time to read those texts. But like we all kind of like intrinsically understand a lot of this shit. You just had some time on your hands and read a fucking book, and now you think you're like you've got some answers, dipshit. Actual smart people move in silence. Okay, they keep their fucking mouths shut, and they only speak when it's time to speak. And it's the same with dumbasses, slack-jawed dumbasses. Don't have much to say. They just go about their day and don't bother nobody. And it's the fucking middle of the road people who are just smart enough to think they're smart, but still absolute fucking idiots that go around talking about the process and the boulder and enlightenment and shit. I've been there. I've been that guy, and like who I am now is like I'm of the mind. It's like figure it the fuck out. Like whatever these like spiritual wellness guys talk about, where they just yap on and on about enlightenment and suffering and meditation and all that. I'm of the mind that's like figure it out for yourself. I got no, I have nothing to offer in that regard. It would be foolish of me to ever try to speak on anything with any authority. I do not understand a goddamn thing. I am so like people have always told me like you're really well read for someone in like comedy, or in this realm, and it's and it's like, okay, I mean that's the same as like being like well read for a fucking dog. Like if a dog recognizes itself on the TV, it's like he's really smart, he's a smart dog. That's what it's like to be like in the world of comedy and podcasting. And I've read at least three or more, at least three books since high school. It's like that's not really much of a feat to be like one of the more well-read people in a room full of fucking comedians, because they're the most lazy, entitled, fucking idiotic jackasses on the planet. So the fact that I like, have taken the time to read like a Confederacy of Dunces, they're like, okay, gay little smarty pants over here. I stopped reading after high school. Okay, I decided to get pussy. Books are for no pussy getting fools. So yeah, I mean there is an element of truth to that, I guess. I guess you do sort of like retreat into literature when you're not getting pussy, and just hope that like maybe if I just get smart enough, I can get pussy. Maybe if I read enough books, I'll get like some sort of like mega mind powers that will help me get pussy. Like the law of attraction. Like women will see how fucking emotionally mature I am because I read The Great Gatsby, and I understand human nature in the 1920s. I'm stupid now. I mean, ever since my brain accident, I haven't really read or wrote in anything. I'm trying. I'm trying. I sat down today to like actually try and write something. And it's just so difficult because it's just so hard to like organize your thoughts. That's why I like doing this. I don't have to organize anything. I just go off the dome and just start ranting and rambling, and whatever happens, and it's in the moment. And the nature of the medium lends itself to this sort of thing. Like I can just like talk and talk and talk, and it kind of works because you're not like reading any sort of text, and so contextually you can understand what's happening by listening or watching this. Whereas like if you were to transcribe anything like this and put it on paper, it would be like absolute fucking nonsense. So that there does have to be like more deliberation and work and care that goes into actually writing something. Broadcasting is either got with broad. Well, I mean, I guess with any creative endeavor, whether it's like broadcasting, podcasting, stand up, writing, music, whatever. I think there might be some element, like an unfortunate truth that's like you either got it or you don't. Like you either have like some sort of innate ability that you can hone in on and like sharpen and fine tune, or you just don't have it. Like I've seen like plenty of people take like improv classes or comedy classes, or like I studied writing in college, so you're just in rooms full of like other people trying to learn writing. And I think like with creative stuff like that, it's just luck of the draw. It's just something that you either have like this ability to express yourself in some way that people find like enlightening and engaging, or you just don't have it. I saw it all the time in stand up. People just plugging away at this thing for years and years and years, and they're still just waiting for their name to be called at an open mic and begging to go on different bar shows. And and it's also like I mean, also like with all this kind of stuff, like the sort of saving grace is that you can learn sales and manipulation tactics and networking techniques to still succeed in spite of like lacking any real talent. You know, it's like if you suck shit at the thing you want to do, just get really good at like marketing and sales and learn how to fucking schmooze and rub elbows with people and work your way up the ladder, and then you can have a nice career making, you know, bullshit for people. And that's fine with me. I don't, you know, like get like whatever you got to do to get money. But that's the flaw with a lot of these people is, you know, they consider themselves artists and just keep, you know, doing the grind and not even realizing like you're not like making any headway. You're not advancing at all. You're not like making any progress. You're literally doing the same thing day in and day out, and maybe, you know, you get to do like an out of town show that you lose fucking money on. And you know, I can't talk about losing money really because I've lost everything and everything's riding on this, but I'm good at it. Like that's the thing is I am like naturally gifted in this way. I don't have a lot of good qualities. You know, I'm fat as shit. I look like the girl from Hereditary, which I have to accept. My feet are fucked up, but I got two things going for me. I got a good ass head of hair, and I have a great voice for radio. Everywhere I've ever worked, people said that, whether it was in retail or sales, being a barista, they always said you have a great speaking voice, you have a good personality, people like talking to you, you got that southern charm. And I've had many people tell me you got a great voice for radio. And you know, and this is radio. This is radio. The Cuba Gooding Jr. Black Retard movie. Yeah, but that's the gift I've been given, and it's, yeah, why not? Why not me? You know, if those like horribly unattractive, nasally like weirdos over at Chapo Trap House can build like so much wealth and have this like extremely prominent successful podcast in spite of having the worst speaking voices I've ever heard human beings have. It's unreal that how like ugly their voices are. Like all of their voices match their faces. It's crazy the total unattractiveness of those people from head to fucking toe. They sound ugly and then they look ugly. You know, it's like the joke in Wayne's World was that like that radio DJ had the most beautiful speaking voice, but he looked kind of schlubby, and that like that juxtaposition was funny. But like with Chapo, it's like I don't even know. There's nothing funny here. This is just tragic. You guys sound fucking terrible when you talk. Like you have these awful nasally, whiny, like but also like prima donna sort of like rich kid voices. Like I'm reading Marx is and they were able to like build this like vast empire doing that. Same thing with them fucking dime square whores, the Red Scare, Dasha and Anna. That vocal fry shit they do, the like airheaded fucking empty way that they speak, and they're making like fucking getting like investments from Peter Thiel for their fucking like whatever their show is now. Like what it was like socialist, and now it's like tradcath right wing, hanging out with Alex Jones, and they talk like absolute fucking barred out Xanax retards. Fucking crazy what actually works, like that actually worked out for them, because it's like you would think in an audio medium you would need to have like a voice that was appealing and that people would want to listen to for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And any like I can't sit there and listen to any of these fucking people for any length of time because it sounds like they have like tuberculosis. It's crazy. Whereas I have one of the most pleasant speaking voices that God has ever gifted anybody. I'm unbelievably talented and pleasant to listen to. But unfortunately, I've gotten in my own way, but yeah, I can recover. I can, as long as I got a webcam and an internet connection and a fucking days in that keeps their Wi-Fi set to guest. I can do anything, baby. Uh, by the way, I fixed me a cup of coffee here, and this is not, I don't have sponsors yet. I can't even monetize the channel yet. So these folks are not part of the show, other than I'm just like drinking this. But um, I was thinking about this particular brand of coffee because they've employed an interesting marketing strategy of the way they branded themselves that I've noticed with different products now. It's this one of these man military metal coffees. I think it's like Death Wish or Black Rifle. I think I have both. I have a bag of Death Wish coffee and a bag of Black Rifle coffee. And the marketing for these coffees, the way they're branding themselves and advertising themselves, is interesting because most coffee is designed to uh, paint the image in one's mind of a cafe, perhaps a Parisian cafe, or a New Orleans or a New Orleans cafe, or having a couple of chicory and a beignet, or some like pleasant place. Maybe it's raining outside and you're sitting in a cafe working on your screenplay. Like that's sort of the imagery that coffee companies want to conjure. Or there's a guy waking up in the morning putting his tie on, and his wife fixes him a cup of coffee, and there's a fun little jingle, the best part of waking up, Folgers in your cup. uh but with this coffee, Black Rifle and Death Wish, the imagery that they're conjuring in my mind is Fallujah. It's just like, be a fucking man, grab a gun, and go to war. And in order to kill the enemy, you're gonna need a strong cup of Joe, Black Rifle coffee, M16 in your hand. Time to time time to infiltrate and neutralize the insurgents. It's just like man coffee. This shit ain't for gay guys. Women can't drink this. This is for warriors. Death Wish coffee. It'll make your heart beat funny. It'll make your heart flutter. It'll give you arrhythmia. There's so much fucking caffeine in this. This is so goddamn strong. It'll make you feel like you're in a war zone. It'll give you Vietnam flashbacks, even though you're only 23. Yeah, that's that's what I picture with the branding of these coffees. Is like these guys saw some gap in the market where it's like, what people are tired of are pleasant, enjoyable cups of coffee. We need to remind them of war and being a fucking man and going on doing march orders, going on 12-mile marches with a fucking 80-pound rucksack strapped to your back. That's what we want to inspire with our coffee. Okay, where are the beans sourced? uh who The battlefield. Okay, these beans are sourced, grown from soil fertilized by the bones of our enemies. Okay, that's where the beans are sourced, roasted in the fires of burning corpses. That's how we make this coffee. Okay, shipped over here in a fucking body bag. and it feels like it's an extension of the original brand, like, product that did, that I can remember, that tried this. And I think they still make it, but they definitely had to change the way they advertise it. Was Dr. Pepper 10. For those of you that don't remember, Dr. Pepper had probably the greatest ad campaign of all time when they released their low calorie alternative, Dr. Pepper 10, which was not Diet Dr. Pepper, but it wasn't fully loaded Dr. Pepper. It was Dr. Pepper 10. And the ads they ran was like just a dude in like an action setting and you know, like running and gunning and riding an ATV or something, and like dinosaurs were chasing him, I think. And then he cracks open a Dr. Pepper 10, and the slogan for Dr. Pepper 10, like the ethos of Dr. Pepper 10, the idea behind it was like this was a masculine beverage. This was like something that is like an alternative to Diet Dr. Pepper, but still low sugar, low calorie, so that I guess it's still healthy. And so the slogan for the drink was Dr. Pepper 10. It's not for women. And they ran these commercials all the time. I remember enjoying them. I remember thinking it was like funny. It was funny to me that like the market research you did, like what you determined was to create a product and advertise it in a way that alienates, I don't know, half of the population. Like the way you want to sell this is like, women and gays don't get to drink Dr. Pepper 10. This is for fucking men. This is what men drink, is low calorie Dr. Pepper, but not Diet Dr. Pepper, because that's for fucking pussies. And that was like the first time I saw anything advertise itself in that, like, so aggressively, that like being marketed like for dudes in that way, where like using the imagery of like an action movie to sell like a soda, to sell a soda like that, and marketing it like appealing to that sort of like primal element in our minds, like that thing inside all men that want to be Leonidas from 300. In order to be Leonidas from 300, you need to drink a 10 calorie can of Dr. Pepper, of Dr. Pepper that only has 10 calories, because you're still trying to like watch your weight, and that's how you become Leonidas from 300. And then yeah, and that was like the first time I noticed anything like that. And then like in recent years, there's like more and more stuff like this hitting the market. Like maybe it's not like a masculine branding necessarily, but like that liquid death water, where it like every other water that exists tries to like conjure up this feeling of like a glacial spring or a babbling brook, or like some pleasant, like underwater Mario level type of vibe. The underwater Donkey Kong level vibe is how water is. and then liquid death, liquid death is another one, is one where it's like, what if you bashed your fucking face in with a hammer? It's like Cannibal Corpse water is the idea behind like what I gather from Liquid Death. It's like, this isn't, all the other water is for fucking pussies, okay? This water is for fucking metalheads and the hardcore fucking hydrators out there. Where my that's the branding of it. And I do I do like the can aspect of it. Like, I think when it comes to bottled water, it's probably best to have it like either in a glass bottle or a can. All that plastic is yucky, and it's gumming up the environment. But with the can, from what I understand, cans and glass are easier to deal with in terms of like waste management, recycling, and they're like overall better for the environment. Not that I'm necessarily like an environmentally conscious person, but also I will say on a tactile level, just in terms of like sensory, like the sensory sense, I do prefer cans and glass to plastic. Like plastic containers just feel so trashy to me. Yeah, I know I'm white trash, but there's always been something about plastic that has this like just feeling of the proletariat of the dregs, whereas glass and aluminum cans have this bourgeois Z style to them. They just feel more elegant to hold and to handle, and they clink, they crunch. You know the sort of the crinkle of an aluminum can, whereas like a plastic bottle just make the noises it makes are unpleasant. The click of a plastic bottle. Ugh. I don't like. Yeah. This might what I'm describing might just be a symptom of autism. I cannot handle the sensory overload of a plastic bottle. um, but yeah, with liquid death, that's another one where the whole idea of it is just like, this is water not for pussies. Don't be a pussy. Don't drink Aquafina. That's for pussies. And that is a bad one. I mean, when it comes to water, you do want to stick with either, you know, some sort of mineral water or tap water, whereas like Aquafina and Dasani and all that are just, you know, distilled. Um, and what is going on with bottled water anyway? Everywhere I go now, like everybody's drinking bottled water, and they have. God damn, this sounds like such a fucking old man thing that I'm doing right now. But it is something I've thought about lately, because like everywhere I go, everybody's either drinking bottled water or they have those like Brita filters, and there seems to be like this palpable fear of just like tap water now that I don't understand. Like truly, like can't wrap my head around why people are like scared of the tap water. I mean, it makes sense if you're somewhere like Flint, Michigan, but whenever I go to like people's houses or their apartments and they insist on using like the Brita pitcher or having bottled water, I'm always like, the like, you know, if it's especially if it's in like a large city, like a major metropolitan city, I'm like, the fucking like public utilities of this city, like I think the city is making a pretty good effort of ensuring that there's like clean drinking water coming out the tap. I don't know if you have anything to be afraid of. But also, I remember being a kid and being one of those kids that just drank water out of the garden hose, and then like somewhere along the way, like everybody made the switch to bottled water and filtered water, because everyone is susceptible to advertising. You know, like the people over at Big H2O convinced everyone that you got to get bottled water, you got to get the filter, because they created the product. Now they got to sell it. So like all the, you know, all the ad agencies and marketing and these companies like spent millions and millions of dollars to figure out a way to convince all of us that the, you know, easily accessible and inexpensive water that flows forth from the taps in our homes is yucky and not to be trusted. So we got to go out and buy, you know, 24 packs of bottled water, or get the Brita filter, or drink smart water, alkaline, 9.5 pH, infused with more electrolytes, Essentia, life water. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that if there's like these huge multi-million billion-dollar companies that are creating these products and funneling this much money into making it and advertising it, marketing it, and all of that, that they would like embed within us some like psychological fear, some sort of like aversion to tap water that we don't even like realize was planted in us by these companies, that like we're all walking around now looking at tap water like it's fucking acid rain, when the reality is it's probably okay to drink. You could probably just go to like I used to just like wake up in the like as a teenager. If I woke up in the middle of the night and I was thirsty, I'd go into the bathroom and just like get handfuls of like cut my hands together and just slurp it up from the tap like that from the bathroom sink water. But now it's like Pete Davidson tells me I got to go spend $5 on a fucking goddamn bottle of smart water. I mean, it's insane. It's crazy. And then what's really alarming is, and I think I've talked about this already, but that guy from The Big Short, the real life dude that Christian Bale plays, Michael Burry, that like investment dude, he went tits up during all that, or he had to shutter the doors of his business, and now like his whole thing is like he's big into like the commodity that he's invested in, that he like works the most with, is water itself. So that's that's alarming that like some investment strategist, like one of these Wall Street guys, pivoted to water, just water itself as a commodity, and so they're gonna I guess like he's going to short water itself the same way he did the housing market. Like he bet against the fucking American like global economy and the housing market. He's going to bet that we won't have access to water anymore, and he's going to make billions making water investments, and then we're all gonna die of thirst. So that's an alarming thing, and that's where it's like, god damn, there does need to be some sort of fucking goddamn like. I sound poor, don't I? I sound stupid when I talk like that. When I start swearing too much. That was something my elders always used to say, is that a sure sign of lack of intelligence is cussing, is cussing too much. And I think maybe one must be somewhat deliberate in the words they use when speaking. I don't think cusses are completely off the table, but this episode of the show has been festooned with swears, and it does dilute what is being said overall when you swear too much. You have to be very particular about which swears you use and where you put them, and I have been very sloppy with my cussing on this episode, so please forgive me for that. I sound very stupid with all this swearing. That's something that bugs me too. Bugs me bodes. Hey folks, it's me, Robbie Goodwin. Is when people use the word fucking the same way that we all use like and where they use the word fucking or fuck as a filler word, like a connective tissue as they're thinking and speaking out loud. It's something I'm guilty of in my life. I've done it a lot, but it's so low class, and it bothers me because it definitely removes a lot of the punch of the word itself and dilutes it to the point where the word loses any sort of substance or meaning in a way. Like you get so used to hearing it and using it in that way that you forget that most people that's like unacceptable in most circles to just like be that lousy with a swear word. And I think a lot of us have done it, and a lot of us are like mindful when we're in professional settings to not talk that way. But it's something I'm trying to be more thoughtful about when I talk to people now, is making like a concerted effort to not use the word fucking and fuck as just willy-nilly as this sort of like connective tissue as I'm talking. The links in the chain of my flow nice speech. Yeah, that was that those were the lessons imparted unto me by the one semester of speech communications class I took in high school, was to try to eliminate filler words from your vocabulary, such as like and fucking uh oh, it's me, I'm a Marxist, and oh, I talk like a fucking idiot. He's a good example of how not to talk, Jake Flores. He even types that way. He even types, he'll post something and he'll use the like he'll type the word like in his post the same way that someone would speak. And it makes sense to talk that way because that's how people talk. You're formulating a thought and talking, taking your thoughts from the abstract and expressing them as language. And as you're attempting to sort through what you're thinking and put it into speech, you use the word like and as these placeholders as you try to think about what you want to say. Whereas if you're typing something and you have all the time in the world to deliberate over what you want to say and then post it, why would you include those same filler words? I can understand doing so for the purposes of maybe a joke or some sort of like creative choice, but to do that for like to do that regularly, as though to communicate to people like this is, I don't even know what it's communicating. It's communicating that you're such a fucking like self-righteous, indignant fucking asshole that you still talk like a valley girl even when you type. Jesus fucking Christ. I know I'm low rent, I'm trash, and I've done horrible, horrible things in my life, but I at least make an effort that when I speak to be thoughtful and deliberate. What is the first of the four agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz? Be impeccable with your word. And the second, don't take anything personally. And the third, I forget what the third one is, but I think the fourth one is always do your best. But the first of the four agreements is be impeccable with your word. Think about what you want to say. Deliberate on it. Say exactly what you want to say, what you mean. Be impeccable so that nobody can question what you've said or pick it apart, because it's airtight what has been said. It's been thought through, and it is a beautifully constructed sentence and a good thought that you thought about. Nobody cares anymore, though. Nobody cares about language or any of this shit anymore, because everything is everything is content. People want to see Kai Cenat play Spider-Man 2 and make jungle noises, which I suppose I shouldn't use the phrase jungle noises to describe that person, but that's what comes to mind anytime I watched a Kai Cenat stream. I'm no better than anybody, though. It's judge not lest ye be judged. That's scripture, folks. Read the book. Read your book. Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. Speaking of, I feel bad for her, man. I feel bad for whores. Because Riley, did y'all see that thing that Riley Reid posted about she wants to figure out some way to stop her kids from getting bullied at school once should they, she want, it sounds like she wants to remove the stigma attached with the fact that she used to get DP'd for a living, and stop her children from getting bullied. And it's with people like that, it's always like, man, oh man, every time. It's every time these women, they turn 18 and they get like, for what, and it's not like they're without agency, it's not like they're culpable in their own like decisions. They are making like a conscious decision to get into that industry, but man, that whole fucking industry is very predatory and abusive, and it sucks in these like young impressionable women at a very young age, and then either spits them out, or they decide they don't want to do it anymore, they want to try and live a normal life, or they get aged out, like whatever the factors are. And then it's every time, and it's not even that it's bitter unknown porn stars that, you know, go public like this. It's always like, there's been like plenty of times where it's been like some of the most popular, well-known, beloved porn stars get out of the industry and then turn around and try to live a normal life, and then they go, oh, that was a mistake. The 10 years I spent getting airtighted by three like black dudes on a white couch, that was actually, that's gonna stick with me if I, as I try to raise a family, or do anything moving forward in life. And I feel bad for her, man, because she's definitely one of the throat goats of that industry. I'm very familiar with Riley Reid's work, but like, yeah, I mean, I can understand wanting to have a family, even if that's like your line of work. It's not like those people are undeserving of love and empathy and being able to like try and have a family. But man, that sucks. That does suck, because like, like your kids are gonna get bullied. Your kid, like, what's gonna happen is like somebody at school is gonna come up to her kid with like a smartphone and just try and like force them to watch their mom get like butt fucked on one of these tube sites. And so these kids are gonna have like a pretty they're gonna know the very intimate details of the inner workings of their mom's holes. So I feel bad for her. And yeah, it seems like a lot of these women, it just drives crazy. Like it also just like will drive them crazy. Like remember a few years back when August Ames killed herself because of this? Like, she was this, poor, great, I mean, one of the best, really, big public figure, and she was getting like cyberbullied because she didn't want to fuck a gay dude and get AIDS. Which, fair enough. I mean, I agree with that. You don't want to get raw dogged by a gay dude. He's been taking PrEP. You haven't. You're more susceptible to the transmission of a disease. You don't want to get AIDS. You don't want to get AIDS in your pussy by a gay guy. You don't want to get pussy AIDS from a gay guy. So, and then everybody was, people this was around the time of like, I think the culture wars were just starting, and so people were dogpiling on her, telling her she was like a bigot or whatever, and just throwing away any of the arguments they made about like a woman's agency or the choices she has when it comes to sexual partners. That's all, because these people don't have any real principles or convictions. So, whatever they decide to be upset about or argue about or condemn someone for, they can pick and choose, what, like, where their condemnations are and what they actually believe in at any given moment. But there's no consistency, principles, or convictions. So, the same people that talk about how a woman doesn't owe you sex, and a woman gets to choose her sexual partners, and she shouldn't be forced to do something she's not uncomfortable to do. In this instance, because in the sort of like oppression Olympics, or like the minority group oppressed Olympics, it was like, no, a gay dude deserves to get some pussy, okay? And you're being hateful by not wanting to get fucked in your pussy by a gay guy. Okay, gay guys deserve to fuck your pussy, and this is you being a small-minded bigot, August Ames. And so she got a lot of hate and then killed herself. There might have been more that goes in. I mean, go listen to that John Ronson podcast about it. It's called The Last Days of August. I don't really remember all of what happened at that time. I just remember being very sad because she had a great pair on her. Some of the greatest titties I've ever seen. And I believe they were Jews. I think those were heavy, dense Jew tits. I know what they look like. I can spot them. I can spot them. Okay, I can sniff out Jew tits. If you ever need somebody to find some Jew titties, I'm your man. And yeah, but so she killed herself, but then there's other instances of nothing that like stuff maybe not that extreme, but Sasha Grey, who was probably the biggest when she was doing it, she got out and has since talked about how it was painful and abusive and exploitative, and everybody's just on every pill imaginable to stay numb through this process, to deal with like the reality of this is what we do for a living. Is I gotta lay on my back and throw my legs over my head while a guy jams his cock inside my ass. Literally, the number one fear of any guy, should he go to prison, is just what these women do every day. Like they go to work and they're like, well, I'm gonna get sodomized. big day at the office today. I'm gonna get sodomized by 9 black guys. And for any dude who might be looking at jail time, that's like his biggest fear. There's seasons of Oz about like how awful that is, and then for someone like Sasha Grey, it's like time to get triple penetrated in my ass. Yeah, that's a difficult profession for sure, and so now Riley Reid's another casualty of the sodomy industry, and I wish her the best. I do feel bad for that kind of person, but also she got plenty of money too, so it's hard for me to feel too bad for her. I'd love to have some of that butt fucking money. I'd love to get them butt fuck dollars, Porn is bad, and I love what some of the states now are doing, where there's states now that have passed these bills that are requiring more stringent verification policies for porn sites. So for let's say you go to spankbang.com in a certain state. I don't know what all the states are, but depending on the state you're in, you've got your dick in one hand and your iPhone in the other, and you type in click spankbang.com, and then you click the button that you always click that says I am 18. I assure you I'm 18. Let me into this site. And in the past, it always was like, okay, well, here you go. Here's some titties and big ebony asses. But now, when you click that button, it gives you the message about whatever law was passed, and how now what they need you to do is take a selfie. You gotta send them a selfie so they can see that you're over the age of 18. Which begs the question, I mean, what happens if you have Hasbullah disease or Andy Milonakis disease? What happens then? If you send in the picture and it's like, you're a child, you then have to take a front and back picture of your driver's license, be like, I can assure you I'm old enough to jack off to boobs on this site. Yeah, just adding more degradation and humiliation to the process of beating off, is like having to send them like government issued identification. Can I please just look at Kira Noir's ass? Please let me see her beautiful black ass. I have been getting into the ebony stuff recently. I like big ebony asses. I'll tell you what, I never thought too much about big ebony asses, but here lately it's like I get it. I get what these rappers are talking about now. This is a different class of ass than even like the fattest white woman's ass doesn't even compare to a big ebony ass. They're cooking with something different over there in black asses. They got something. Maybe it's the Crisco that they cook with. They're cooking with lard, man. They got that chitlin ass. All right, now. Okay, I should stop. They got that pickled pig's feet ass. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I've been enjoying the Nubian goddesses, and I think it's because one of the ladies I dated, one of the last chicks I dated was well, she wasn't black, but she looked enough like a black person that I definitely look for. I should stop. I'm gonna cut that thought off right there. I'm definitely not looking for porn stars that look like my ex. Who I think everybody knows about, because at the time I was not protective of my personal life, which now I have learned my lesson and I don't want anyone to know anything about me anymore. I'll never tell anyone my age. I'll never tell anyone how many sexual partners I've had. I'll never tell anyone my finances, who I voted for. I don't want anyone to know anything more about me than what's already been put out there. That's no one's business. I am a phantom on the internet. When I upload anything or do anything public now, I don't exist. I'm a spook. I probably shouldn't use that word. Anyway, that was Lost in the Maze 10. I think that's good for this week. I might try and do maybe like another hour. Maybe I should make these 2 hours, right? Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Thanks everybody. Patreon.com/cornfed with Dalton Pruitt. Be on the lookout. There, I do another solo show that I put up there, and I'm still trying to figure out what that is gonna look like, what that looks like, or what that show is supposed to be. It's called Theseus, finding a way out the dang maze, and it's just me trying to like, I guess like be more informed and react to the news or something. Like, I don't know. It's just more content. But yeah, it's another solo show I'm doing. Get the decal. Please support the show. Tell your friends about this, that this exists, and I'm alive, and I possess the rare talent of being able to do a solo broadcast, and it's only going to get better. The more I do these, right now they're sitting at around an hour each, and then it'll be an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours. I'm putting up fucking Art Bell numbers by the end of this quarter from the high desert in the great American Southwest. This is Lost in the Maze.
After you've gone and left me crying, after you've gone, there's no denying. You seem blue, you feel sad, Mr. than the never. There'll come a time, now don't forget it, baby. There'll come a time when you regret it. Someday, when you grow lonely, your heart will break like mine. You want me only after you've gone. Oh, there's